What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another ADSR stream here on a Wednesday. My name is Tatro. If you don't know me, I'm an electronic music producer, beat maker, educator, content creator, all that good stuff. And I am here every Wednesday on the ADSR channel. Every other week, we do a production challenge where we challenge you, the community, to either flip a sample or try a different style, or for instance, this week, score a piece of media. So we actually have a video that everybody worked on this week, sort of athletics commercial, a little short 1-minute spot. Everybody took their shot at scoring that little thing, and then we give prizes away to our top 3 favorites of the week. We showcase people's work, we give some feedback, and it's a really good time. And if I must say, this week's entries, this week's challenge, I think yielded some of the strongest entries we've had yet in a production challenge. That is what I'll say. And actually, we are going to have the chance to actually take a look at all of the entries. There are about 13 this week, so I'm excited to look at them all. And we'll choose 3 winners from those. What am I missing? Oh, yes. And if you haven't participated, or if you are thinking about participating and you're on the edge, you might as well just do it. And all you got to do is join our Discord channel. The link is in the description. Join us. It's a really cool community. You know, the community is a bunch of really nice people, as you will see from the chat, and I'll say hello to chat in a moment. Very welcoming. At least just taking on the challenge and pushing yourself, even if you don't think you'll quote unquote win, it's worth it to at least go out of your comfort zone and try something new, I would say. And of course, we give away ADSR store vouchers to get yourself some new sounds. We also are giving away a really cool plugin to our top standout this week, which I will say is actually a really cool plugin. Let me show it off here at the top. So one lucky winner, the one we've chosen as a standout this week, will get this sort of grand prize, this plugin called CLOUDBOUNCE, BOUNCECAST annual plan. So this is like, well, I'll just read it to you. It's basically a subscription. So this is a 1-year subscription for each of the services. It's essentially for mastering, and it's a desktop app. It looks really great. I have not tried it. However, this is a lot of value for the winner of this week's production challenge. You want to master your tracks, you want to get them to professional level quality, this app is the way to go. The interface looks really, really nice. I've tried a few different mastering sort of programs, web-based things, etc. So you know that getting a good master is really, really important, and it looks like you have a lot of options here in this plugin. This seems like an invaluable tool for those of you that are looking to get a professional sound out of your at-home mixes. So thank you to CloudBounce for hooking us up, or hooking one lucky winner up today with that. So all that is to say, you should be in our Discord. You should be doing these production challenges. You have 2 weeks to complete the production challenge, and we will be doing another one 2 weeks from today. And I will talk about what that challenge is later in the stream. But if you all want to do some guessing, go ahead and gaze into your crystal ball or your calendar and look at the date that it will be in around 2 weeks. It's not the exact date, but that week we may be celebrating a certain piece of gear. That's all I'll say for now. But we'll talk more about the coming week's challenge soon. So yes, hello. I want to say hello to everybody who's with us in chat today. Hello to Oyama's Music, Hydra Tech, Jola, Limey, Rashane, what's good? My mom and dad are in the chat as usual. James Murley, Amelia S., Danica, hello, JML, Lisa P, thank you for being here. David Tilley, Ika is here, and I'm sure there's more where that came from, and we'll tune in later. If you are watching this later, post live, please let us know in a comment down below. And if you're watching here live, or if you're watching later, don't forget to leave a like on the stream. Okay, pause the background music. So like I said, I think this was literally one of the strongest production challenges we've done yet. Oh, we have friends over on Facebook too. What's up? Is that Sadish? Hello, nice to see you over there. I think I'm saying that right. Very small text on that screen. What was I saying? Very strong entries this week. I believe, am I right? 13 of them, yes. And we can go through each one. I think we have plenty of time today. And at the end of the stream, again, I'll talk about the upcoming production challenge that you can participate in. And I will be taking on that upcoming production challenge as well. Amazing, cool stuff happened with this challenge, this go around. I'm just going to play them all, and then I will tell you all my top 3 favorites so we can react to all of them in the chat. I was saying a lot of interesting things happened with this challenge. There were some commonalities I saw pop up, some very smart things that everybody ended up doing. And some differences, of course. Some people bring in their own unique voice, their unique style, and it was great to see it all the way through. So without further ado, why don't we work through these entries? You all can sit back, relax, grab a beverage. And we've got these little athletic ads. Now, if you haven't tuned in before, or if you missed the introduction of this challenge, it is like a kind of a running ad, a Nike ad. You'll see it with this first one. And the first entry we're going to listen to is Hydratech. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. And then I'll just give a quick reaction to each one, maybe a little bit of feedback, et cetera, et cetera. And you all can react to it in chat as well. So here we go. This is Hydratech's take on this challenge. I believe this is one of the only ones to feature vocals. Really cool ending here, right? So that was a very strong entry. Wait, I'm not ready to move on yet, YouTube. Okay, very strong intro in this one. I really love this beat, and I think the ending is really strong as well, and I do love the vocals. Runnin' free. I don't know if that's a sample or if that's your actual voice. I can look into that in the caption if there is one. This is a really strong ending, and I also love the crowd cheering noises and the gunshot as the start of the run. That was another common thing that people did that I thought was really good, like kind of a audible cue for that run to start. And crowd noises, very high energy. And the Runnin' Free is a sample. Thank you, Hydratech, for letting us know that in chat. Very good use of that sample. My one piece of feedback for you, a room of improvement, is the intro and the outro both sound really big. You know, there's those crowd noises. There's not too much reverb, but there's something of a size to it, right? I feel the size of an arena or something. When we get towards the middle, this main synth becomes the feature. And that main synth sounds very close. It doesn't sort of match the big energy of everything else. Just a thought. But here where it evolves, that heartbeat, the vocal is perfect, and that little guitar wailing at the end is good. And the synth here at the end, I think, makes a lot of sense. So Hydratech. Great entry, thank you. That's my little 2 cents on that. Next up in the playlist here, Marcos Gomes. I made this for the ADSR contest. I like to be a part of contests. Thanks for the opportunity. Hey, thank you for entering. And folks, if you do hear one that you like today or you want to check out the person's work, please go ahead to their YouTube channels. Try them out. Check them out. Hydratech, great job. Yeah, widening or something like that would for sure work. It's so interesting to see everybody's take on this, but let's keep going. This is Marcos. No Hail Hydra. All right, before that goes on, let's replay that back. So there's a couple strong things. There's like a main theme that I think is very strong. I think it comes in here on that synth. This theme here, though it gets cut off kind of abruptly, I think that's a really good theme that kind of gets played a little bit throughout. And then the ending I think is pretty good. Letting that synth kind of bounce around towards the end, I think that gives good energy. To improve though, I think especially from the beginning, a lot of stuff is just jumping around and I don't feel time. I don't feel how it is synced up to the video. You have that main synth playing like a melodic line in kind of the foundation, but then you have all these things like the brass kind of bouncing around and even the drums. I just don't feel the groove. I don't feel like that everything is synced up together. Not that things have to be synced up together, but I do think things should have some sense of cohesion and not just be sort of confusing for the listener. This is a little bit confusing for the listener, and I'm not convinced. Like, there's no real change. It's all the same instruments throughout. Nothing really evolves by this point. Like, I feel like this wide pan out of the runner about to take off, I feel like the track should have evolved by that point. But overall, there's some strengths here. Just don't try to reinvent the wheel with having crazy stuff happen all around, and make sure your certain sounds like fit together. That brass is popping out, but then you've got like a synth. Like, it doesn't feel like they belong on the same planet. I did a video on my channel this week on sound selection, so maybe that would be a topic for a stream on this channel, or you can go watch the video on my channel. But thank you for that entry, Marcos Gomes. Next up, we have Sub-Zero. Let's give this a listen. We've heard some work by Sub-Zero before. Give it a play. Very cool sounds. But we're gonna listen to all of them today. So many different takes on the same thing. It's really cool to see. Another one featuring that little gunshot thing. All right, an interesting take for sure. Hold on. This thing's trying to get ahead of me. So this initial instrument, I don't know if it's a sample, whatever it is, the thing that's playing the chord. That is a very, very cool sound. Certain things though, like the percussion here, these are very short percussion sounds. They almost sound a bit cut off. And to me, this visual kind of invokes a bigger space. I mean, I've given that feedback to a previous entry too, but you have smoke, like the air is literally thick. You can see the air moving. You see this blackness, which kind of implies like infinite space. You don't see a wall, you just see like infinite like blackness. And light. The light is very stark and contrasty. So that's why I think that chord instrument works very well, because that chord instrument in there, whether it's a sample or whatever, is building up a certain atmosphere. And when I look at this visual, for sure, I think atmosphere. When I hear these sort of low, these sort of close, crisp sounding percussion noise, I don't understand, because there's nothing close and crisp happening. There's no like pebbles on the ground. There's no rainfall. There's no whatever it may be to represent that. How could this have been bigger? How could you have drawn the audience in a bit more? And the gunshot technique here, what you'll notice is that the gunshot happens a little bit too late. The runner is not going to move until the gunshot happens, but you will notice moves and then the gunshot happens. So very much want to pay attention to that. Timing is very, very important when scoring visuals. Sub-Zero, thank you for that entry. On to the next one. Dreams by Aika. Let me run that back. Full screen. Aika, I know you're in. False start, says Amelia S. Yeah. Right, we got that 80s synth feel. That's really cool. Do you hear the moodiness of this? That pad synth in the back. Spatially. Good. Aika, that's a great entry. And one of the things that makes it great, again, is that atmosphere that is building. Not only that, but culturally, we already have context for 80s driving synths being a part of like workout and sports culture. Like we already have that context. So it makes a lot of sense. We do have another instance of the like that gunshot kind of happening after. You can remedy this by doing some slight tempo changes. I think you could do a very gradual speed up of the tempo, or even just changing the tempo by 1 or 2 BPM might get you to line that up with the action more perfectly. But I didn't actually mind it so much in this one, as you know, the music was just cycling. But I think you could get it to line up even better for sure. And also just notice the buildup of tension here. And it does happen. I just want to go a little bit back to this. As this camera pans out, that an instrument with the higher frequency range, like adding energy to the synth line, basically comes in as soon as we get a face. As soon as the face is introduced, that energy is added, and the further out we go, the tension builds even more. That syncs up really, really well with the visual. And then that gradual fade out. This is a good example of, it's kind of minimal. There's not a ton going on. However, it's really, really effective, the instruments that were used and how things build over time, etc. Good entry by Aika. Thank you. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, wait. This one's by Steven Scholes, who always gives us some cool screen recording. Tried a dramatic but motivational style, mixed classic synth tones with string orchestra and some ticking ear candy. Let's hear it. Yeah, a lot of these you can hear a voiceover in the background for sure. Done the voiceover, true. Cool. So a very cinematic score here. Couple pieces of feedback. First of all, pay very close attention to the bass drum hits and the way they sync up with the footsteps. reason I say pay attention to that is because they don't necessarily line up with a downbeat or a beat at all, like a strong pulse beat at all. However, it syncing up with the visuals gives you that context, and you have enough keeping us in time with the string line that contextually it makes sense and doesn't confuse us as a listener. So I thought that that was really cool. Now, check me on this chat, but this comes up in another entry as well, maybe another 1 or 2 entries. We have a female subject, and what I've heard in a couple different entries is this breath sound that sounds almost like it's probably the source material comes from a male, and I'm not 100% certain on that. However, I would assume that women are probably underrepresented in some sample libraries, and I would have, I think you should find some explicitly female vocal one-shots if you have a female subject, potentially. But you all check me on that. Maybe I'm crazy, but it does happen a couple times. And then my overall feedback for this is that this style of score, I'm gonna just double pause on this frame because this is a good frame. Very moody frame. Basically, there's like 3 colors here, like black, this pink and purplish, and then some glaring white, right? When I hear this score, it's a bit more of a bright, vibrant, almost like an NBC covers the Olympics style score where everything's in full color. It's like for broadcast television. This visual evokes a slightly more moody, not less cinematic, but less Marvel, less classical cinematic. I think it evokes a little bit more of that. Potentially. A bit too bright, but I could see this if this was an athletics commercial or spot for something like an NBC Sports that has like big bright visuals, you know, like sporting events are usually shot, not super stylistically like this. I think this score would probably fit really well. So that was a good entry, but Stephen Schultz is always doing really cool cinematic entries, and I really appreciate that. Also being able to watch the dog going by. So thank you, Stephen. Wow, good title here, Chariots of Ida. Perfect. Larry Boy, let's check out yours. I see you in chat. Let's give it a listen. Run it back. I believe that's Ida singing. Sorry, I gotta bring the volume up. Those thick synths. Cool. That's a really cool like end stinger. Let's run it back really quick. So this one is actually very similar to the previous one. However, it introduces a lot more of the aggressive synth stuff of like dubstep. But you saw that the feet were synced up, the steps were synced up again. There is an element in here though that breaks it for me, and it's that very high synth that comes in here. That tinkly, that synth on top, and then it's here, it's arpeggiated. For me, that totally breaks the darkness of it and just stands out to me as something that doesn't quite belong. The strings are also very clean, and this is gonna play a part of my piece of feedback with the ending. That ending stinger is really, really good. And it's like a Fox Sports or whatever stinger for sure. But to me, it's and it suffers the same thing as the previous entry. Very good, like sports broadcast stinger music, and the strings that go throughout kind of match that vibe against the aggressive synths. I think if you had leaned a little bit more into the aggressive synth thing and maybe darkened things a bit, it would have fit the mood a bit better of this scene. And also that breath that comes in, that sounds like a more distinctly a female one shot, but you should just roll the there's one subject here, and she's center frame, and she is quite small in relation to the scene, right? Whereas the breath you used is very wide, carries a lot of low end. I would have made it sound just a bit more sparse and a little further away to better match the visual. She's one person in this huge space. Her breath isn't going to fill up the whole space. It's going to be like a little thing in the distance, a little exhale in the distance, right? Nonetheless, if you can make little stingers like that at the end, you should sell that to somebody, my friend. Sheesh. Well done, Larry boy. Thank you for that entry. Keeping it going. How many more do we have? Where am I at in this playlist? Why does YouTube work like that? All right, Amelia is next. I don't want it to play right away. All right, Amelia, let's see what you got. The crowd noise. I love the crowd noise. These strings, much darker than the previous strings, I would say. Do you hear the difference? Every day, millions of women get ready to run a marathon. The training, the dieting, the challenge. It's the marathon. The marathon of life. Very, very strong entry. Amelia, good job. I was reading that script over it. I hope I did a good job. I don't really have a good narrator voice. However, I want everybody to pay attention, and maybe you don't agree with me, or maybe you can go back and reference it and look at the previous entries and just listen to the difference between these strings and the strings of the previous two entries. These strings are much darker than the previous ones. There's nothing too bright here. The one thing I might work on, Amelia, is that percussion. Those toms sound really cool, but they also sound a little bit distant. You could have had harsher toms, I think. And then this also had the like male exhale sound, which I think it could have definitely used a female vocal exhale. And I don't know where everybody came up with this idea of putting a crowd sound at the beginning, but that's really smart. And then another entry that's, you know, syncing up the steps with the thing. So like I said, like the reason I say this was one of the strongest entries is because a lot of people had similar good ideas. Like a lot of people, you all have, for the most part, very good instincts in terms of things to put into a project like this. So it's very, very cool. Amelia, thank you for that entry. Next up, Ricardo T. This is my submission for the week. Instead of composing a musical tune for the video, I decided to make it ambient, like I can imagine. I'm going to turn my AC off so it's not too loud for you all. In my idea, she'd been listening to music through the headphones until the moment she had to focus in the start of the race. All right, so we're going to see this all play out, and I have thoughts about this one for sure. Let's give it a listen. All right, in concept, this one has a very, very cool concept. So the idea of starting with this diegetic sound at the beginning, which many people have been doing with the crowd noise, however, having the diegetic sound with the music like in the headphones, very, very strong idea. I feel that it falls short of executing on that idea at that switch up where that music ends. What I believe would have been more effective would have been to have that diegetic music there, that diegetic sound there as part of the scene, but then to continue the energy of that music and have it then become the score. I would have kept up this energy and taken this like dope rock tune and made it basically work for the entire score. Because when you do things like this becomes more like sound design. Second of all, it also becomes that David Fincher, if anybody has seen Gone Girl, there's a scene in that movie, very violent scene. The score is very similar, and this synth that comes in and everything that happens here makes me believe that either A, she is about to die, or B, she is about to kill somebody. I don't think that was the intention. I don't think that, obviously that's not what happens in the scene. And then there's also some sound design elements like these breaths that are in there that we can clearly see that she is not breathing like that. So the sound doesn't line up with the visual and it confuses the listener. So this idea, diegetic sound, do the thing like they do this in movies all the time. The sound sounds like it's coming from the scene. And then suddenly it becomes the score. It's not just from the scene where the character can hear it, but it becomes part of the score. Because then you go on to that, which I think is really effective here. This works really well. But I think this would have been a stronger entry had it leaned into that a bit more throughout and not gone that sound design-y route. You're saying we should run from her? It's either we're running from her or she's running from us. I don't know. Who can say? But nonetheless, very interesting entry. Very interesting concept in general. Thank you, Ricardo T. Next up, micro lag. What's happening? Micro lag. Okay. Oh, let's start this one up. Yeah, so somebody mentioned in the chat, it's a jump scare at the end. It for sure is. Let's talk about it. First of all, I think there's smart things done with the energy, right? Like opening with a very basic synth line, then having it grow. And then when we get to the wide pan out shots, that is where we start to introduce drums and it builds up. And just to talk about this part before that switch up at the end, this is for sure minimal, but I don't think it's an effective use of like minimal instrumentation. The main reason being, I don't think that this sound fits very well with the scene. Again, it's a very close sound. It's a very bright sound. There's no contrast really in the music, whereas there's lots of contrast in the visual. Big space once again. I hear a little bit of delay, but I think reverb is a must for some of this sound. When you're scoring a scene, like, you know, you're not necessarily doing the straight up sound design, but in a way you kind of are. And then to widen, shouldn't we add more highs in the percussion as it develops to give us more sense of space around? Not necessarily add more highs, but some reverb or something. Of course, if something is farther away, you're actually hearing less of the highs. Like say we're standing in this gym right here. If I'm sitting right here playing a snare drum, you're hearing it crisp and clear. If I back up 50 yards and I'm there in the blackness, you're still hearing me play the snare drum, but you are hearing much less of the low end because it's all getting caught up in the ceiling and the walls and stuff. And then there's this switch up at the end, which I don't really understand. I almost feel like the world of this little ending thing fits better than the entire first 50 seconds. Like I would have brought in some of those darker synths, which we've seen in previous entries, darker synths, harsher synths. I think something like that would have worked a lot better if you at least gave some foreshadowing to that coming later on. The ending actually is the strongest part in a way. Thank you for that entry. Microlag says, tried to make music. Well, you definitely made music, Microlag. All right, before we even play this one, my friends, you don't gotta waste time on your videos putting copyright information. Nobody's gonna steal your track. The best case scenario is that somebody does steal your track. It gets placed in an amazing commercial or with a giant artist, and then you sue them and prove that you own the rights to the music and you make a lot of money. That is literally the best case scenario. You don't have to tell people that you copyrighted it because as soon as you create a work, you own the copyright anyway. This is just kind of like extra time. I would have rather you spend less time. Not that it takes you that much time, but I just think sometimes we put unnecessary attribution that doesn't actually mean anything. Anyway, let's actually listen to the entry though. Don't like it. JK, that was a joke. But ending very strong here. Beginning, kind of sus. Beginning very, I mean, like, here's the thing. If you don't have a strong brass library, I would highly recommend you just avoid doing brass and find another alternative solution. This brass, it all sounds very like early kind of 80s cartoon music at the beginning with that brass. But then it kind of morphs into something cool when things get darker and you start adding the crowd noises. The guitar is really fitting, but you see how if I'm over here listening to the song, and then I'm over here listening to this, it's not the same world. And you can evolve a track. You can have a track evolve over time and bring in new elements, and have it exist in the same world without it being the same all the way throughout. But obviously these are just different complete planets. And I think more of this guitar style stuff, more of that rock and roll vibe is the way to go. I would just highly recommend when you're doing this kind of stuff, like pick one thing, pick one world you want the thing to be in, and figure out what versions of that world you can evolve into for sure. Because it would have been a really strong, and oh God, that thing is, I don't know what that is, but it's terrifying. But that guitar thing is really cool, and if you had done that the whole time, it would have been a much stronger entry. Do you conduct challenges often? Yes, we do. We do these challenges every 2 weeks. Make sure you join our Discord, and we do these streams every Wednesday, but every other week, of course, we are reviewing folks entries. We have a few more to go. 3 more. Let's hear Rashane's entry next. Lots of crowd sounds. Good 808s here. Very cool. So yeah, the only one with 808 says like I think it's like the only one that did like the urban kind of hip hop vibe, which I very much appreciate. There's certain things like the crowd noises, like the mixture of claps and stuff works really well, but I can hear in a certain part where the clap is cutting off. So just make sure you crossfade that a little bit better. So I think it's cool to have this crowd clapping sound that doesn't quite go with the tempo of the music, because it adds to the feel that it is diegetic sound and not part of the score. And I do like this approach, this kind of switch up that happens here. This little ticking sound. Having that 808 drop out there is really smart. I do wish, what was I going to say about this? 3. You could have probably started that drop out a little bit early. But yes, and James Murley says the verb on this. Yes, you hear how that synth, where is it? It's the first synth that comes in. It's immediately spacious. It makes the most sense for the visuals out of any of the synth stuff I've pretty much heard so far. But yes, this was a really effective thing to do at the drop. And those chords coming back in, I don't know, that fits it really well too. I could for sure see that being part of the ad music. Rashane, good entry. Keeping it rolling. Whoa, a lot of time has gone by. What happened, Chad? I thought we would have 30 minutes left at the end. All right, let's quickly go through this. Tateshi. Wait. Oh yeah. Okay. This reminds me of something, chat, and it's a video game. What video game am I going to say? There's one correct answer. Ed Oyama got it right. It is Super Smash Brothers for sure. all the way. Okay, this is another good entry. And the thing about this one is it falls into the category of the other two, like, super cinematic ones. This is a very bright, poppy, triumphant tune with a very moody, dark visual. So it doesn't totally fit the visual. However, it is still a very strong, triumphant score that I think could work probably for another piece of media, probably for another piece of athletic media, but not one that is so moody like this. And I hope you all understand why I'm saying that about a few of these entries. But the orchestration is really good. That's really effective there. That sub drop, we didn't hear anybody really do that. And there's also the heart beating. Is that right at the beginning? But overall, really well executed orchestrally, right? Very sparse drums and things like that. Eventually we build into more of a march. And then finally it gets very, very intense sort of by the end. Oh yeah, this part where it switches shots. This is very good scoring. Notice how it's scored to the cut. Suddenly we understand that we're hearing it from her perspective because we're hearing the heartbeat. And we're hearing the crowd sort of filtered, so that's like putting us in a place of we're imagining that we're her. And then suddenly we hear the sound around us, and the orchestra comes back in. A thought for this, to make this stronger, is could you have extended this filtered part and brought in the big triumphant orchestra closer to here where she takes off? Just a question. But Tateshi, great entry. Good job. Run by Ed Oyama. Sheesh. Listen to those percussion instruments. Very good. Very smart scoring here. Because if you notice what happens, chat, just counting tempo here to make sure that I'm right. Oh. Wow, that's pretty good. So clearly there was some forethought here. I actually thought there was going to be a slight tempo change, but it actually maintains tempo from the music to this ticking. Complete dropout. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very well done. Very cool. William Williams says, sounds like drumline. Yes, I think very good use of the percussion and electronics. Very good sound design in this. And that's why, Ed, you are one of our standout finalists this week. Shout out to you, Ed. You are going to be getting a $100 ADSR store credits and recognition in the Discord. That tempo was hard to pull off. Yes, but it does come down to working backwards, and this was one of the strongest entries for sure. Shout out to you, Ed. I figure since you're the last in the playlist, I just would announce that here now. But yes, this is very good. Conceptually very good. Our friend Ed has also been streaming on his channel. Y'all should go support. But Ed, you should have streamed the process of making this, or maybe you did. That bass line is so sick. Yeah, overall, conceptually, I can't explain to you guys enough. Some of the weaker entries today, the weakest, the part they fell short on was the concept. Okay? You have to take in the visuals. You have to take in the context of what do sporting events sound like? What do other sporting event ads sound like? What does music played at sporting events sound like? And what does the visual convey? because we've seen other ones that we've said could fit another sports broadcast, but they don't necessarily match the visuals. So it's all those things you have to take into account. So you have an entry like this where Ed fully takes on that marching snare, but puts it into like this intense sort of electronic score. And it's a really strong entry. Ed, great work. We do have to keep it moving. I'm going to announce the other two standouts and our grand prize winner today. I hope I didn't just exit out of a window that I needed. I didn't. Let me open that up. Okay, so this should come as no surprise, or these two should come as no surprise. That's Ed's. I already announced that. Congrats, Ed. Our second runner-up today, I would like to give it to none other than Rashane. Thank you for this amazing entry. I really enjoyed, again, I think you're used to the diegetic clapping sounds and stuff like that. I also think that hard-hitting 808 is a perfect fit. I thoroughly enjoyed the hip-hop approach. It stood out from the rest because of that, and I really appreciate that take on it. I also think you paid very close attention to matching your sounds with the visuals. So shout out to Rashane. Good job, Rashane. And if you all are ready, I will tell you who our number one standout is today. And of course, that standout winner is... Sorry, I was trying to do a little tease here. That standout winner is going to be taking home CloudBounce and BOUNCECAST, a desktop music mastering app that you can use. So this is a very high value prize. And if you want to win yourself cool prizes, please make sure you join our Discord and enter these production challenges. You can't lose anything. You're going to be pushing yourself beyond your skill levels. You're going to be pushing yourself to learn more. You're going to be part of an amazing community, and you have the potential to win cool prizes. So think about it. It's a no-brainer. Okay, it's a no-brainer, much like the one I picked for the winner. I think this was the strongest entry. This is the one that I could see. Sometimes you just see and hear things and it clicks. I think this is the one that would get closest to actually getting placed in an ad like this. I want to give a good shout out to our friend Ike for taking home that winning spot today. Simplicity is key here. Mixing was on point. Music-wise, it's fantastic. I think you could get this track licensed for sure for similar placements, and you should continue to compose this type of music because this is a very, very strong entry. Chat, the visuals and the music. Like, tell me that the synth pad is not the sound of this smoke. Stare at the smoke and listen to the pads. It's literally like, it just works. Attention to detail, and some of this I'm sure you act on instinct. You're not exactly saying, okay, as soon as her eyes show up, I want to hear that top sound, but it just works really well. So shout out to you, Ika. Thank you for that entry. That is really, really fantastic. So glad you made it. So glad all of you participated in that challenge. 13 of you. You should all give yourselves a pat on the back for participating this week. Scoring media is not easy. However, you all actually did a really good job, and it was cool to see all the different takes and then also all the commonalities. So if hopefully you can take anything from this stream, you can see the best parts of all the entries and figure out how you could approach this challenge, a challenge like this in the future. And ADSR asks an important question in the chat is, should we do another video challenge in the future? What did you all think of it? I personally very much enjoy the video challenges. Something I'll also say, though, is I also enjoy challenges that push us to use specific types of sounds. Like, for instance, if you all did your homework, like I said at the top of the stream, and you checked the calendar, you will see that 2 weeks from now, we will be celebrating very close coming up. I'll just change my audio input device, we will be celebrating none other than 909 Day. September 9th is coming up. I believe our stream is probably on the 8th. So yes, Ed, you are correct. 909 Day. So our challenge for the next 2 weeks, you must make a tribute to the TR-909, the classic drum machine. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a techno track. However, it could be. I don't really know how to make techno, but perhaps on next week's stream, that can be the genre that I take on. So if you do need a 909 kit, obviously ADSR has a couple great 909 kits, 909 drum samples, 909 culture. We've got one-shots and drum loops, all that good stuff. So please prepare for that. And if I can make a track right now in 5 minutes, just to take on this challenge and ode to the 909, what do I need to be at? Like 120 BPM. And I probably need a 4 to the floor kick, right? How fast can I do this, chat? Don't roast me. Here we go. Let's keep on going. Let's just double that up. Like I said, 4 to the floor kick. Probably do off beats on the hi-hats. I'm just working on instinct. I literally don't know anything about techno music. Don't normally use a 909 sound, though I know they use it a lot in, you know, some styles of pop and even like bedroom pop go to using these sort of retro drum machine sounds. Off beats. That's too loud. Pan it to the right. And let's just repeat that all the way through. Again, we're working so fast here because we've spent so much time on the amazing entries. I obviously didn't manage the time right, but tell me what to do, chat. What do I do now? Dang, he fast. Yeah, we're just gonna build up a basic. Oh, I like that. That was kind of like an accident, a little happy accident. I want that to happen again, so I'm just gonna copy bar 1 and do that again, and see if we can do like a little bit of. Then we'll do a 2 and a 4. And then we'll probably do like a little bit of a snare roll. So how fast can we go here? Give me another snare. We use snare 3. So I'm going to use snare 4 because that sounds different, but not too far out. And let's go to like an 8th note grid and put a, nope, that's not what I want. I want a 16th note grid. Yep. And then I'm going to just continue making this roll here. Not sure if this is quite techno or not, but we'll add a bass line to it. Hope you all enjoy today's stream. I want to see a lot of you taking on this challenge, because if I can take it on in these 5 minutes, I have no reason to expect that you cannot take it on as well. What do we have drum loops here? Do we have like tops or something? Just give me a top loop to complete the cycle here. How do y'all feel about this loop we have? We got a nice little thing going here, and in one of these packs has serum presets, which it's always a roll of the dice on whether or not I installed them properly. So let's see what's going on here. Acid bass. I deeply am not into acid music. I am anti-acid music, but okay, we'll do this bass instead. Let's just go for it, right? Oh, that camera is on. Great. 1, 2. How's that? What else can we do, chat? We'll go for like 2 more minutes here. Add like a couple more sounds here. Do they sidechain with the 909? What do you think? I'm definitely gonna just throw a chord on top of this, I think. 909 presets, rave pad, that'll work. Hopefully. Oh, that will for sure work. That's a lot less aggressive than I expected it to be. Let's make it super wide. Check that info for the challenge in the chat that just dropped. Let's go with a sidechain compressor here. I would just want this to be heavily sidechained from the kick, like intense. Bring the threshold down and let's just rock. We're playing in D minor, so we'll just do the root note here. Dope. Just gonna record this to ready go. Literally just playing the root in the 5th here. Is this techno? Don't tell John Selway. What happened? Please quantize. Thank you. I know there's a lot cooler, like glitchier stuff that happens in techno. We're not gonna get too into it, but if y'all want to see techno or something on next week's stream, let us know. We might just jam on this on the way out. Moog Melody? Moog, sorry. I've got too much reverb here. That's cool sound. Oh, little incidental thing like that would be fine. I'm gonna kill some of the highs. Well, it's like a dark techno thing now. That's what we got today, folks. A little quick dark techno or something, whatever you would call this. That's 5 minutes in these 909 packs. So I am certain if some of you are going to take 2 weeks to work on this, come with your A game, my friend, because there's a lot to do here. Oh my God, there's some like dirty samples in this pack too. This was a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I don't know what I'm about to do, but maybe I can add one more layer as we go out. As usual, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on. Notifications are not always helpful, though, according to MV Beckham, but hopefully they do. You just have to go into your settings and make sure you have all the proper notifications turned on and let YouTube know that you want to be notified when we go live so you don't miss a future live stream. There are a lot of cool streams on the channel. I was lurking in Jane's stream the other day, and there were so many good mixing tips happening in there. I was like taking mental notes for sure. Of course, Alina Smith is on this channel as well. I want super high. Worth saying that I also have my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/Techo. I put out a video today and on Monday because we don't stop working around here. And I'll be live tomorrow too on my channel. So I hope you can join me there. And join me here every single Wednesday on the ADSR channel, making cool stuff like this. So I hope you all had fun. I'll see you all for another production challenge. Stay tuned, join the Discord, subscribe here, subscribe at youtube.com/Techo. And that's going to be it for today. For now, thank you so much for watching. This has been Techo for ADSR. Have a good one.